Hello, mysterious person behind the screen. So we're back again doing Batman Returns. I am once again joined by Isaac.
Hello.
And without further ado,
If you'd like to sync this up with your own copy of Batman Returns, this is for the Blu-ray. Put the timestamp to 0 and press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Batman Returns.
We have returned with Batman Returns.
We have returned with Batman Returns. A very interesting film. Feel like there's gonna be a lot of good discussion here. So I'm quite excited to get into this.
Me too, because it's, I'd say it's divisive amongst the Batman fans as, say, Batman Forever.
I think so. I think because it is very, very dark. It's easily the darkest of these four original films.
Yeah, it is. But some have argued that it's not dark, it's just really, it's camp, but has a dark surface to it. Like, it looks dark, but the content itself is pretty camp.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But it's also, it's easily the most sort of layered film of these original four. I've wrote a big letterboxd review of it a few months ago, and I've got that next to me just so I've kind of got notes to talk about, because there's so
the
much.
Penguin just ate a cat. Symbolism.
Yes.
Also, Paul Rubens is playing the Penguin's dad, and he also played him in Gotham.
Yes, he did, didn't he? I always forget he's in this.
Yeah. Also, I've got a theory here. The couple you're about to see go by the Cobblepots.
Yep.
There.
Yeah.
I want to theorise that that's Thomas and Martha Wayne with a baby Bruce Wayne.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what if it is? Because, Bruce looks to be in his early 30s by the time.
Wouldn't surprise me, to be fair.
That'd be quite cool.
That'd be quite a cool little detail, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, already you can see why this got complaints from families at the time, because it's a Batman film that got a Happy Meal tie-in that's starting off with a baby being dumped in the river.
Yeah, there goes the toy deal with McDonald's.
Yeah. So we're already sort of starting to get pepperings of the score here with it's far more gothic than the first one.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot more of Edward Scissorhands.
I have never seen Edward Scissorhands, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, but
okay.
Danny Elfman did that as well, didn't he? The score for that.
He did, yeah. He's done a lot of Tim Burton films. In fact, this was his final superhero film until Sam Raimi's Spider-Man in 2002.
Oh, that's interesting, actually. The thing with Danny Elfman's scores is you can hear a lot of repeated cues in them. Like, even in the Spider-Man scores, sometimes I'm listening to those and I'm thinking, wait, is this the Batman theme?
Yeah. But for me, he wrote the definitive Batman theme and the definitive Spider-Man theme.
Yeah, same here. Same here, yeah.
I really like the music, but I think it's kind of a step backwards from the title sequence in the first film, because it's forming the bat symbol, where it's here you're just following a cradle down a sewer, and it's not very exciting.
Yeah, well, I guess this is more actually a part of the plot than the first one is.
Yeah.
This is kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I think it suits the score, like with the choir in the background. Is quite ominous and creepy, and we're in an ominous and creepy place. In
fact, whenever since I saw the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, had 2 and 3 had the recap with the main theme for the titles.
Yes, yeah.
I assumed every superhero sequel would open like that.
I honestly, that's my favourite way of opening just sequels generally. Like, I just think it just gets you in the mood. Like, Superman 2, the theatrical cut as well, having just this big 5-minute long recap of the first one.
Yeah, you could do something similar like Spider-Man 2 did, how Yeah, show Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed, the birth of the Joker.
Yeah.
Vicky Vale being let into the Batcave, the Signal.
Oh man, that's kind of something I want to make an edit of now, actually.
Do it.
I kind of want to do that. So this is it's kind of important to note that when Tim Burton was kind of reluctant about signing on for another one, wasn't he? And it was Warner Brothers kind of just went, look, we'll give you full creative control. You can go as mental as you want.
Yeah, true, because as much as I love the first film, it doesn't feel like a Tim Burton film.
Yeah.
I mean, there are his trademarks there, but it feels very much like a studio control film because they're taking a risk by making a darker Batman.
Yes.
Whereas here it's like, well, the first film paid off. Have fun, Tim.
Yeah, the first one is a Batman film directed by Tim Burton, whereas this is a Tim Burton film with Batman in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's definitely a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm. The complaints I hear about this film is that it's quote unquote not realistic. But the thing is, this isn't the Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fantasy like that.
I mean,
it's supposed to be a world where a Penguin Man could live in the sewers.
Yeah, and this has got Danny DeVito riding around on a giant yellow duck.
Yeah.
So.
Also, that woman who just turned on the light, she must be freezing.
Oh, I know, right?
I know this isn't on location; it's in the studio, but even in real life, you would be freezing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that you mentioned the studio. That's one thing I can kind of say about this is that it Gotham in this feels a lot more like a set than it does in the first one.
True, yeah. I'd say the only film where it feels like a big city is probably Batman Forever.
Probably, because you've got those we'll obviously get to that next week, but you've got those like massive CGI shots like panning through the city and everything that they've dated.
Batman and Robin just looks like a huge city of statues.
Yeah, with like Greek gods, perfectly chiseled gods lining the cityscapes and stuff. But yeah, this one you never really get, unlike the first one, you never really get a sense of the sort of geography of Gotham in this one.
Yeah, it's quite claustrophobic.
Yeah, it seems like it's just kind of, I know we see more of it, but it does seem like it's the majority of it is that big town square.
Mm-hmm.
So here we've got the introduction of probably one of my favourite performances in any film ever, with Michelle Pfeiffer as Selina Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's fantastic in this. She's probably my favourite Catwoman.
She is hands down my favourite thing about this film. I think she is like.
Is that because of the tight leather suit?
Well, that pays a little. That adds to it a little bit, but no, I think it's an incredibly layered performance. Like it's so, and this character is so tragic as well. It's just such a. I mean, it's not the Selina Kyle from the comics, and it's not the familiar Selina Kyle, but I don't really care. Like it's just, it's so.
It's a different interpretation.
Yeah, it is so heartbreaking and fascinating, and I think what a massive thing in this film is like identity, and like how your identity comes from trauma and the duality and everything, and she kind of is the purest version of that for me.
Yeah, plus the Penguin and Catwoman represent the freakish side of Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say Penguin represents the freak side of Batman, whereas Catwoman represents the humanity that's left in him.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. And I think the three central characters are, I know it sounds weird to say, but three sides of the same coin. It's a weird sort of statement, but they are sort of, they're so interlinked.
You should say triangle, that's a three-sided shape.
Oh yeah, triangle, there we go. There we go. They are perfect triangle because they are all like, they're three lost souls searching for some sort of semblance of identity in this. And
also, what does Max Shreck's company do exactly? Because seems to be a business, but what kind of business has a big smiley cat as its logo?
It's such a weird, because they're meant to be building a power plant, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just a sort of generic evil company, but they've cast Christopher Walken's son very, very well. Like,
yeah, he played Leatherface in one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films.
Oh, did he? Oh my
god. I can't remember
God.
which one. Probably the Michael Bay produced remake.
Oh, probably.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
He's called Chip because his acting's very wooden.
Dad, go! Dad, go! We'll get to that in a minute.
It's like he's doing an impression of him. He's like,
I know.
Oh, I'm Walken's son. I've got to impersonate him.
It's very accurate.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be Harvey Dent, but
yeah,
I think the studio wanted Christopher Walken.
Probably, and it's a weird choice to have him and bring him in as this character. It's a bizarre character. It's a bizarre choice. I
think he is good in this. It's just if it was Harvey Dent, it would probably have tied it into the first film a bit more and set up a third one pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
So the first film, he's basically an ally of Gotham, whereas here his evil side is coming out.
Yes.
And then he's at odds with himself in the third film, if that ever happened.
Oh man, that would have actually been kind of perfect. God, you're right. That would have been a really sort of nice arc for him. Like his corruption sort of comes out, and then the two sides clash in the third one.
Well, in the original script, Max Schreck was supposed to be the Penguin's half brother.
Oh really? That's just.
Yeah.
So here we have a giant present.
Yeah.
Just in case you were in any doubt over whether or not this was a Christmas film.
Oh, I watch this every Christmas.
Oh yeah, me too. It's I know this film so well. I've watched it so many times.
Yeah.
In fact, I think this is the third time I've watched it in like a year, because I watched it at Christmas, and I watched it a few months ago, just watching all through the Batman films, and now this time as well. So it's I've got quite a lot to say about it.
Yeah, these gang members look cool and all. It's just, I know they're from a circus. It just feels weird to have them be clowns because that's more the Joker's thing.
No, I agree. So that's Vincent Schiavelli is the guy with the minigun in his present. He's one of those actors that pops up in so many things, and just bit parts. Like I recognize every time he pops up, I'm like, oh, it's that guy.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love this. It tells you so much with so little.
I love it as well.
Like, you can assume Vicky Vale has left him, and all he has in life is just to wait for the bat signal.
And people misunderstand this a lot because people like take the piss out of it. Like, oh, what is he just? Does Bruce Wayne spend his nights just sat in his chair? And it's like, well, yeah, kind of, and that's kind of the point. Like,
yeah, because being Batman is all he has in life.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
This point.
And that's why he reacts so quickly when the signal happens as well. Like he immediately sort of goes, what? Here we go.
Oh God.
That go.
That go.
Doo doo.
That music there, it sounds like Making Christmas from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, it does actually. Oh, you're right, because of course that was Danny Elfman as well, wasn't it? Was he involved with that? Yeah, he was, wasn't he? So that's.
Yeah, plus he also did the singing voice for Jack Skellington.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was around the same time as this as well, wasn't it?
It came out a year later,
Yeah,
1993.
that doesn't surprise me. He's probably got elements of this and elements of that in this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I prefer the look of the Batsuit in this one. I
It
think
looks more armoured.
yeah, I think so, and I think I don't know whether
And
it's
cleaner.
just the various Blu-ray versions over the years, but I think the yellow on the emblem looks a bit more saturated as well, which is nice.
Yeah,
I like
because I
that.
used to have the DVDs of this, but they were like, I think, amongst the very first DVDs ever made, and the picture quality was pretty naff.
Yeah, same here. I think we discussed this last time as well, and this was cut quite a lot, like the third one as well. The DVD of this was censored quite a bit for violence. Mr. Man-Bat.
Ah, Man-Bat.
Yeah, that's interesting. She's great. She's so good.
Yeah. And just notice, like Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin, she talks to herself a lot.
She what, sorry?
Like Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin, she talks to herself a lot.
Oh yeah, I guess it's a theme then. You corrupt my research. We'll get there.
Not yet.
We will get there.
Oh yeah, she uses that taser later on Shrek.
Yeah, she does. It's a nice little setup, actually. It's This is I know we discussed last time that these first two are rated 15, and this is out of the two. This is the one where I can kind of see why it is rated 15, because of how sort of full of
me too.
Yeah, it's full of sort of fetishism, like sexual fetishism, and it's got a lot of dark themes to it more than anything else, as well as obviously being quite violent, but
yeah. Just the pussy I've been looking for. Good luck explaining that to your kids.
I'd like to fill her void. Big fan of abandoned zoos in Batman things.
Why, was there an abandoned zoo in the others?
Oh, I don't know. It seems to pop up quite a lot. Like even in Lego Batman as well. One of the levels is this big abandoned zoo, and you find the Penguin and Mr. Freeze in there and stuff. It's like, and again,
I think he's fantastic as the Penguin.
Yeah, Danny DeVito is. I mean, Danny DeVito is amazing anyway. I think he's just brilliant, but. Him in this
was nominated for a Razzie for this performance.
Was he?
Just what?
Was he?
Yeah, he was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor.
Oh my god, that's. I mean, even if you didn't like this version of the Penguin's very different, obviously, but like, he put so much into this performance. It's hardly like worthy of that.
Yeah, exactly. Then again, Stanley Kubrick was quote-unquote nominated for The Shining in 1980, so
yeah, that's really true. I find the Razzies just very sort of, I don't know, I've never really
obviously
been
you don't take them seriously.
No, yeah.
Even as a joke, you think, are you actually joking?
I enjoyed how Halle Berry accepted her Razzie Award in person for Catwoman.
Yeah.
That was quite fun. Because that's the thing as well. This was meant to lead on to a Catwoman movie, wasn't it? It was meant to be.
That's true, yeah, but it never did.
It just languished in development hell for years and years, didn't it?
But this is actually referenced in that god-awful Catwoman film, because you actually see a photo of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Oh, really? I've never seen that, so...
I've seen it, and I think it's probably the worst comic book movie ever made.
Oh, damn, really? I mean, I never want to seek it, because I know of it, and I know, like, the whole... What's her name in it? Patience Phillips? Is that...
Yeah,
like, I probably will never ever watch it, but it's kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, people say the Catwoman origin in this film is stupid, but then I just say, it could be worse. It could be the actual Catwoman movie.
The Catwoman origin in this is kind of... Because I love... This is probably my favourite out of the 4 films, but I do think... The script is... There are contrivances in there, and I can get, it like the first one, really. I can get over it, that it doesn't bother me at all, but I think it's just one of the many things that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you kind of just got to go with it.
Yeah, true. Plus also, this film is proof that you can have 3 villains and...
Yes.
Make it work. I'm looking at you, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I mean, it can be done well. It can absolutely be done well. It's just... I feel like the director has got to be invested in each character, whereas in Spider-Man 3 you've got Raimi, who's very, very invested in the Sandman story and the Harry Osborn story, but he couldn't care less about Venom, which is why we have what we have there.
True.
I feel like if he was as invested in the Venom stuff as he was with the others, it would...
Then a lot of people argue that Batman is sidelined in this because the villains do get more screen time. I
do think he's definitely... He's not as big a presence as I would like. Like, he's not... He's not as much of a character as he should be in a story like this, but, it's...
Then again, Michael Keaton would actually go through the script and be like, I should say less here, I should do less here, things like that.
Oh, really? Oh, fair enough,
yeah.
I guess.
And he got $10 million for this.
Yeah.
And apparently he's never watched it in full.
Oh, really? God. That's weird. I mean, it's like you hear, like, Mark Hamill hasn't watched Star Wars since the special edition came out.
Ah.
So, I don't know. The makeup on the Penguin still holds up as well.
It does.
It looks fantastic.
I'll check if this got an Oscar nomination for makeup.
I think it should, because if you showed me a picture of the Penguin in this, without his voice and just said guess who that actor is, I probably couldn't tell you that it was Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the voice that gives it away for me. Lots of pink in Catwoman's... in Selina's life. There's an abundance of pink stuff, which kind of gets completely destroyed as soon as she becomes Catwoman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nominated for Best Visual Effects and Best Makeup, but it won neither.
What won that? What won for Best Makeup?
I'll just check. Oh, Bram Stoker's Dracula won for Best Makeup.
Oh, yeah. I've not seen that film in full, but I've seen a lot of clips of it, and I can kind of see that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film, except for Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah. We, back in high school, we watched, like, the opening 10 minutes, and, he is not good in that. Love Keanu Reeves, but he is... Yeah.
Are you looking to buy property in London, Count? Good. Do you... Your wife, sir, do you not have one anymore? Whoa.
I'm looking who won best visual effects for that year as well. Let's have a look. What was it? 1992.
Yeah.
Death Becomes Her, apparently.
Not seen that.
No, me neither. Alien 3 was nominated.
Yeah.
Which... Alien 3, the effects in that are... they're very experimental, but they don't hold up very well.
Yeah, definitely.
Boning up.
I mean, imagine if they went with the original story pitch and put Robin in this as well.
I think that would be the line where the film would just become so overstuffed.
Yeah, true. Plus, Robin just would not fit in this world.
Yeah, no, I agree. Say what you will about Batman Forever, but I actually think that's a pretty damn good introduction for Robin.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the way the whole film sort of built around him and stuff.
Yeah, because I think when people think Robin, they just think of the Adam West series.
Yes.
But in the animated series, they made it work pretty well.
Yeah, well, when he was in it, they were quite inconsistent with when Robin
sometimes he was there, but sometimes Batman worked alone, and it didn't make much sense.
For years, I kind of just thought, oh, maybe the DVDs are out of order, but then the Blu-rays came out and they were in the same order, and I was kind of like, huh, maybe it's just like this.
Yeah, but by season 3, Batman's always working with someone, either Robin or Nightwing or Batgirl.
Yeah, the new Batman Adventures, which obviously the animated series became, was basically Gotham Knights. It was about the Bat family, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Every episode kind of was an ensemble piece.
I'm wondering, is that a wig that Walken's wearing, or is it actually his hair?
I was going to ask if that's a wig. I don't think that's his hair. I think it's probably a wig, but it's odd. This is what I mean. This whole character of Max Schreck, like from the way he's written, the way he's performed, the way he looks, is just really odd.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get it.
Well, apparently he was going to be a recurring villain in the animated series, but they just dropped it at the last minute.
Doesn't surprise me, because I think we spoke last time about how the animated series feels like a cartoon based on the Burton films, so it would not surprise me that if they had continued Max Schreck's story and stuff.
So, how do you see this origin? Do you see, like, as the cats nibble on her fingers and she comes back to life, or she just has a bad fall?
I don't know.
She does fall for a lot of canopies.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she'd have a bit worse than a cut on the head if it was that. But then again, I don't really buy into the whole these cats are mystical and magical and they bring her back to life. It's...
Yeah,
I don't know.
In the Catwoman film, the cats literally breathe on her.
Yeah, that... Oh, God. I mean... I really don't know. This origin has always puzzled me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I used to think that maybe cat DNA got into the cut on her head, and that's how. But then that wouldn't make any sense at all. Like, I don't know.
I think... have it be like Spider-Man, a radioactive cat bites her.
And like the blood on her fingers, I always used to think, oh, is that a cut on her finger? And when the cats like nibble on her fingers, it kind of does something. I don't know. It's bizarre. I love this scene though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she says the exact same words again, but she literally has a mental breakdown, and it's so tragic.
That's what I mean. I kind of just buy into the fact that she's just suspend my disbelief and say, oh yeah, she just had a bad fall and she's gone a bit. Because how I see this version of Catwoman is just a really lost person screaming out for help, and sort of manifesting her insecurities via this persona and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that the party scene is so good later on with Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle dancing. But obviously we'll talk about that when we get to it. But I just everything about this character and this performance I just adore in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the music just blows up here, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love about older film scores, is that they play what the characters are feeling, whereas now a lot of modern music tracks are just background noise.
Yeah, that's something we've seriously lost from modern movie music. I mean, you get the odd one, like anything. Really, I'm always excited whenever I see a score from like a classic composer like Alan Silvestri and obviously John Williams and stuff. That's when I get excited, because usually you know you're in for a good time. But and I guess coming on to that, like, you know, you're talking about how the modern movies have sort of lost the sense of identity in the music. I think modern superhero films, like all four of these films, are very, very flawed, but they are each a product of a director's vision.
They are, yeah.
They're so distinct from anything. Like, you wouldn't get like the Schumacher films and this film as well. You wouldn't get them today. No studio, I think, would be willing to take the risk and do it, because they're so different and so sort of. And as much as I love, go on. Sorry.
There's a video I've watched called "How I Learned to Appreciate the Schumacher Films." It's really good.
Yeah, I love that video.
It more or less says, "Yeah, we're never gonna get films like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin again, but
we wouldn't know.
Why don't we celebrate them existing?"
Yeah, exactly. I love that channel. That's Patrick H. Willems. He's a fantastic YouTuber. Always good. Continuity error there. She picked up the scissors and they were pink. And then in the next shot, in the close up, they were blue.
Oh.
Yeah, I notice it every time. And it's one of those things where I wouldn't if I hadn't been pointed it out. If do you know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't aware of it, I wouldn't notice it. But.
Plus, I think when she's dressed as Catwoman and you see the sign, it says "Hell," and it's supposed to say "Hello there."
Yeah, because she smashes the letters.
If it's "Hello there," does that mean Obi-Wan Kenobi lived there?
It's a nasty sign as well. Like, it says "Hell here" now.
Hell here.
But even with the "Hello there," that's a nasty sign. Like, it's so sort of, the font is kind of aggressive and creepy. I don't know. That shot used to creep me out.
The crappy Catwoman film. The first scene as Catwoman is telling noisy neighbours to turn off the music.
Oh, what? Hang on, then.
Yeah.
That adds to my thing that Venom is kind of a film from 2003 that's just been released today. Because in Venom, that's one of the first things he does as Venom is shout at the neighbours because of their noisy music.
And eats a lot of food, Yeah, Venom for me is the Room of superhero films. It's so
weird.
bad, you can't stop watching it.
Yeah, it's...
Because it's so it's so bafflingly stupid you can't take your eyes off it.
It's so dumb, isn't it? It's so dumb. On my planet, I'm kind of a loser like you.
Like, what?
Oh man, I haven't watched that in a while. That's just...
I've not watched it since the cinemas.
I bought the Blu-ray when it came out just because I'm a completionist. It's just like, what? Ugh. I gotta go.
Couldn't that just scare the baby even more?
That's what I was going to say. The baby would be freaking out.
Well, apparently, it happens later in the film. The penguin gets a note from the monkey, and apparently in one take, in rehearsal, obviously he did it with no makeup on, and the monkey performed the scene quite well. When he put the makeup on and started acting in character as the penguin, the monkey was so scared he wouldn't go near him.
I've seen the video of Danny DeVito on Graham Norton. He talked about the monkey kept like biting him in the balls or something. Like he just kept going for him because the monkey was so freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny DeVito said it was a good thing that he had all the padding on. So yeah, you're right. Wayne Manor is now completely different compared to the first one.
Yeah,
because
actually, it's a lot like the manor that you see in Lego Batman, the big empty house.
Yes, it is actually, and because the stairs behind him, you know, the staircase wasn't that sort of open in the first one. It was more of a.
There's a deleted scene where Batman comes home after the mission and goes, "Hey, I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home."
Yeah.
Surprised he's not eating. What was he eating? Lego Batman? Microwave lobsters.
Lobster thermidor. And spending his evenings watching Tom Cruise films in his cinema.
Mm-hmm.
I love that film so much. It's one of my favourite Batman films. It's so good. So immediately we're getting like a parallel between Bruce Wayne and Oswald Cobblepot with the parents thing.
Yeah, because he says, "I hope he finds them."
Yeah.
Because Bruce Wayne didn't grow up with parents.
This is kind of an issue though, because we are now. Let's have a look at the time. We're 37 minutes into the film, and that is basically the first scene we've got with Bruce Wayne properly.
That's true, yeah.
So that kind of speaks to the issue when people say Batman isn't really in it. It's kind of true, you know. Like we've had of Bruce Wayne up to this point is that short bit with the bat signal. So yeah.
Then again, in the first Superman film, Christopher Reeve doesn't appear until 45 minutes into the film.
That's true, but I think with that...
Unless you count hearing his voice.
Yeah. But I think with that, the film is about him, and it builds up to... And it's about that character. Actually, that you mentioned hearing his voice there, because he dubs over the young Clark Kent, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
In the extended TV cut that they released, all the TV scenes aren't dubbed over, so you're watching it and it'll go to the real actor's voice, then back to Chris Reeve again. It's weird.
Oh dear.
Their voices aren't that far apart, though. To be honest, they're not.
No, that's fair.
They're pretty similar. Oh, I love this bit with the.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be cold.
It's just another hint of how far away he is from reality.
Yeah.
He's been down there for so long, he's probably forgotten what food he ordered.
We spoke about it last time. I just love how Keaton's Bruce Wayne is just a weird guy. He's just a bizarre man. Like, he's just an oddball.
Yeah. I mean, I think I mentioned this last time. The problem is he's such a recluse and barely goes out that you'd think there could only be one person who would be Batman in this city.
Hey, that Wayne guy who lives on his own in a big empty house and has got millions and millions and millions of dollars. Do you think he might be Batman?
Yeah. because I suppose we'll talk about this when we get to it next week. But Val Kilmer's Batman was more outgoing.
Yeah.
He attended public events, went on dates. Just to kind of draw off suspicion that he would be Batman.
Yeah. The Kilmer's Batman is he's an interesting one. He's very unique, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, we'll get onto it, but he's nothing like any other Batman we've seen, really.
True. I didn't need a raspy voice to improve my Batman voice. Pure Keaton.
If this was if this was a Bale
the
film,
real Catwoman for me is Michelle Pfeiffer.
If this was a Bale film, there's somebody else off it. I hope he finds his parents.
He knows his parents are.
Where's the parents?
Master Wayne, why are you talking in that voice? I know you're Batman.
What?
Yeah, I don't get that, because in The Dark Knight Rises, when he talks to Selina Kyle, who knows who he is, he still uses the damn voice.
Yeah, it's like the Batsuit makes his voice like that. And when he's by himself, when she leaves without him realising, and he goes, "So that's what that feels like." It's like, you're by yourself. There's no need to be talking in that voice.
Yeah, in Gotham, Penguin's mother is killed, I think, by...
Yeah.
I think Theo Galavan's gang members.
Yes.
Then he meets his dad again when he's standing by her grave.
I remember, yeah. What's her name in that? I can't remember her name. She's called something.
I can't remember either.
Let's have a look, because it's going to bug me otherwise. Gertrude Kappelput.
Oh,
That's it. Kappelput.
Also, this design for the Penguin would be used in the animated series. The long stringy hair, the beaky nose, the short, fat and stout figure. The three fingers also fused together.
I was going to say the fingers as well, yeah. It's and then in New Batman Adventures, they'd revert to the sort of classic. I love that line.
But it's human nature. I just realised, yeah.
They treated me like number 2.
I think Burgess Meredith was actually considered to play Penguin's dad in this, but I think he was too ill.
Yeah, he would have been, because I know he was still, because a few years before this, like 2 years before this, I think he came back for Rocky 5 for flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, maybe he would have been too. I think it would have just been a bit too on the nose, though. Like, it would have been a bit too recognisable.
Yeah, because I've seen the Penguin in the Adam West Batman film. And the weird thing is, he comes across more like a pirate. Because he has a load of sailors at his command. He drives a submarine.
Ahoy, Penguin!
Yeah, exactly. He just goes, ahoy and arr.
Mr. Riddler, fire 2! Mr. Joker!
I'm surprised he's called the Penguin. They might as well have called him the Sea Captain.
Yeah. He's not like that in the show. Well, he still is. He still goes, "Oh, my fine finny thinks" and stuff, but he's not as...
Well, this bit makes me cringe.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
The scratches.
Ooh, tic-tac-toe.
Ouch.
I love this little speech. Hear me roar. I love it. She's so good, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I do like how in a minute I do like how Christopher Walken plays this when Selina walks in. I like how he.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to react. Like,
yeah.
A, I killed you, and then B, is she gonna tell
Yeah.
everyone that I tried to kill her?
I really like how he plays it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there are more deleted scenes with Bruce Wayne that we haven't got. Because I don't think there's any on the Blu-ray.
I don't think so, no. I think,
No, there isn't. I'm just having a look on the pop-up. No, there isn't.
should the only... Actually, no, I think Batman Forever has quite a lot of deleted scenes.
Yeah.
I think Batman and Robin just has one, and it involves Alfred.
Yes, Alfred's Lost Love is what the Batman and Robin one is called. The thing with Batman Forever is for years I've been campaigning for a director's cut of that with all the deleted scenes put back in good quality, but now that Schumacher has passed away, I don't think we'll ever get that, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so.
Which is a shame, because you can always make your own fan edit, but the problem is the footage is in such bad quality. Yeah, his face that is I really like. Keaton's face there is odd as well. Like, he seems.
Oh, I just remembered from the Catwoman film, they did copy the whole mild-mannered, works for big corporation girl that not Selina Kyle is in that.
Well, yeah, she correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't she work for some like beauty company, and like
makeup
the whole
company.
Yeah, the whole villain is like she needs more makeup or something because she's getting older.
Yeah, because it makes her, and also it makes her skin indestructible. But you have to keep using it, or you die.
That reeks of old white men going, I know what women like, makeup. If we make a female superhero film, we've got to make it about makeup. That mentality is so like.
What do girls wear? Makeup. Okay, let's make that evil.
Ricky Friedberg.
Oh, did you know that version of Catwoman, there was talks of putting her into Batman Begins?
What? Halle Berry's version?
Yep.
Oh my god. I mean,
that would have been so awful.
If any director could have made that work, it would have been Nolan. But Jesus, that would have been so terrible.
Yeah, I know.
I'm honestly shocked that at the time Warner Brothers didn't try to cross over their properties, because I know it wasn't really a thing, but in like 2005, 2006, you had a new Superman, you had a new Batman, you got a new Catwoman. I'm honestly surprised they didn't sort of cross them over.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you'd think that Warner Brothers would have started earlier with a cinematic universe.
Wow, Green Lantern was meant to be the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it bombed, so they just restarted with Man of Steel.
Yeah. I actually don't mind Green Lantern as much as some people do.
I've not seen it.
I've seen it once, and it was years ago. So I don't remember much of it, but it wasn't that bad. A lot of people make it out to be worse than it actually is. Who's he looking at? It almost looks like he's breaking the fourth wall there.
I got better fish to fry. Get that, audience.
Oh god, yeah. Penguin, fish. I've never picked up on that.
Oh, yeah.
Genuinely never picked up on that.
Oh, it's the bit where he bites the guy's nose off.
Oh, I love this bit. I swear I've seen that guy in other things as well. I need to look him up. Actually, I'll look him up now, because that guy always. IMDb.
Also, apparently, the plot of Oswald Cobblepot trying to run for Gotham Mayor, apparently that's a plot from the Adam West TV show.
Yeah, there's a stretch of episodes where he does run for mayor. Yeah, It's there's even a bit with a baby. And I believe, and I could be getting this wrong. I could be making this up, but I believe the baby bites his nose. I think there's a bit where he sees a pram and he goes, gotcha, go, and he puts his head in to, like, you know, play with the baby, and the baby bites his nose. So it's very similar.
Plus, even though it's not comic book accurate, you can definitely see that this version of the Penguin had impact on future adaptations, because they tend to go for the short, fat, round, waddling figure. Because if you've played the Arkham games, he kind of looks like this version. Does. Bald head, short hair.
Yeah, because the Arkham games.
Speaks. Yeah, I like how he speaks in kind of an East End accent.
Yeah, I think
good.
Nolan North voices him. I think prolific voice. I met Nolan North. He was a very nice guy. But
cool.
Yeah,
nice.
I didn't talk to him about Penguin. I talked to him about Uncharted. But yeah, in the Arkham games, he's got the glass bottle in his eye, isn't he?
He just said elections happen in November. Is this not late December? You've not been to the UK, mate.
Yeah. Jen and Josh. Josh is the guy's name. I'm looking up because I definitely recognise the guy.
I actually think also, I could be wrong, but I think Jack Nicholson actually talked Danny DeVito into going up for the Penguin.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Oh god, this is it.
My nose could be gushing blood. Gushing blood? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? Oh god.
It's just the way it spurts out.
Yeah.
A family picture. Huh.
I think this went out as PG-13 though, didn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Because in America, 15 is like an R, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's weird things in that spectrum. So, like, in the UK, Suicide Squad was a 15, but in America it's PG-13. Teach you my French flipper trick.
Didn't Sam Raimi's Spider-Man have a lot to do with the creation of the 12 rating?
Yes. It wasn't the first film to be passed as 12A, but it kind of prompted a lot of it because it was classified
Spider-Man's very kid-friendly.
Yeah, a lot of kids were disappointed that they couldn't go and see it because it was a 12.
Yeah, it's like what the Unusual Suspect said in his review.
Yes.
Nobody under 12 could see a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, it's yeah, it is weird, man. But it is cool that how that, because they re-released it, because there's that infamous poster where it goes, it's him on top of the Empire State Building, and it's got the slogan, "Take the kids for the ultimate spin."
Yeah.
So I'm looking. This guy doesn't seem to be in anything else. He just pops up in things as like bit parts, like he's in The Irishman as a judge. So he just seems to pop up every now and then.
Yeah, I'm surprised in the animated series the Penguin never tried to run for mayor. It seems like a pretty good plot.
Yeah, I think the animated series would have done quite well with that. With the sort of political undertones to it and everything. Or overtones, really.
Yeah, because actually, no, Gotham tried to do it as well in season 3.
Yeah, they did. It seems to be quite a popular thing to do.
Yeah. Then again, the animated series has one of my favourite episodes, Birds of a Feather, where he genuinely does reform, but everyone, the upper class, who he's supposed to be a satire of, take advantage of him.
Yeah, I remember that now, yeah. That's a great episode. The thing is, doesn't the Penguin first appear in what's universally voted as one of the worst ones? I've got Batman in my basement.
So, yeah.
Yeah, is that
I don't think I've actually watched that all the way through.
I don't mind it. It's not one of the strongest ones. It's not as bad as people. I don't think the animated series ever really did a really bad episode.
Yeah, it's like 90s episodes to The Simpsons. Like, there's no bad episode in it.
There are ones that are sort of under par and just kind of weak, but there's nothing really bad.
Yeah, I've yet to... there was never an episode where I turned it off thinking that was awful.
Yeah.
These guys just patiently wait to get...
Yeah, I know, right?
They clearly see the other guys getting taken out by the Batarang, and they just patiently wait for their turn.
I also dig how when Batman was sort of programming that, his fingers just went... Boop, 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 boop. He wasn't actually pressing anything, it was just he was moving his fingers about to sort of look like he was doing stuff. Semi-iconic shot coming up. Yeah, with the whole... That's quite cool. Yeah, it was this whole bit that the BBFC took massive issue with and cut quite a lot with the aerosol.
Oh, putting the aerosols in the microwave.
Yeah, because
I can see that.
Imitable behaviour, isn't it? And I think they were quite unhappy with the whip as well because they were scared kids were gonna start like.
I noticed in The Dark Knight Rises she doesn't have a whip.
No, she doesn't. I don't think Catwoman really fits in The Dark Knight Rises, because
I think she works quite well as I think her and Batman work well as a double act, but
yeah,
I don't really buy them as a romance. It just feels a bit forced.
I think she works well in terms of what she's given to do, and Anne Hathaway's really good, but I think putting her in like a big apocalyptic story wasn't the best idea. Because like Dark Knight Rises is this massive stakes thing, and I don't think, especially in the third act, she doesn't really have much to do. She just sort of... Because I think Catwoman should be quite a small stakes villain. Like, because she should be one of the sort of... Wilhelm!
Oh yeah, there it is.
Wilhelm scream. So, this is weird.
That guy could have been Bane.
Oh god, yeah.
Go ahead and hit me, that was pretty good.
This is a bit weird with the whole bomb thing. She just murders that guy.
Yeah.
So I guess if the BBFC cut all of this bit, then I can't really remember it, but I presume it just didn't really make much sense. I assume it was just Catwoman. The shop blows up without really her doing anything.
That's true, yeah.
Because I seem to remember it just cut straight from Batman walking away from the guy's explosion, just straight to this bit. You're not the mayor.
He's just so intimidating.
He is, yeah.
By just saying so little.
I've just noticed as well the bat symbol is more of the classic one this time around. It doesn't have those weird little tail bits that the one had in the first film. Things change.
Can you play in this suit in Arkham Knight?
You can play in the 89 suit. I'm not sure whether it's this version or that version. I think it's probably the latter. I think it's...
Can you play as the nipple one?
I wish. No, you can't.
I have not played it, but I know for the Spider-Man PS4 you can play in the Sam Raimi suit.
Yes, you can. Yes, because there was... The problem with that was there was so much toxicity, because... so many fans were going, oh, boycott the game unless it has the Raimi suit in it. And in the end, they released it as a free update that anyone could get, and I thought that was so cool of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now if you bought the game, it'd just come in there as default, which is cool.
I mean, Rocksteady did a great job.
They did.
Bringing Batman to video game, and now we've had Spider-Man. Now, could they do Superman?
I was going to say, give us Superman.
But then again, how do you fight criminals? Because one punch and they're dead.
That's the problem. I mean,
the only ones you could fight are probably superpowered beings like Superman.
Yeah. Oh, I hate this bit. I'm sorry. I like you'd be fooled by that. I hate that bit. But yeah, the Superman Returns game came kind of close to it in that you could.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game, but it was quite fun. It was basically like you could free roam around Metropolis and fly around and stuff, and you'd basically get like random encounters with like superpowered robots that you'd have to fight. Which was good, but I mainly used that time to just mess around because you could freeze citizens with your freeze breath. So I would just like freeze them and pick them up and just fly around with them. Just not playing the game how you're supposed to at all.
It's weird as Catwoman in the Arkham games, at least in Arkham City. Her costume is so revealing. Like, how is that going to help you fight crime with your tits nearly out?
Yeah, the Arkham games were great, but they were never great with designs. I think, yeah, Harley Quinn they got away with in the first one, but yeah, in the second one it's just like. In general, I really don't like the Arkham design for Poison Ivy.
Yeah, she's green all over, isn't she?
She's green all over, and she's essentially all she's wearing is a red jacket, and she's completely naked. Apart from that, it's like it's just Poison Ivy is a design that you could get so wrong, and that's the Arkham games kind of prove that. Great games, great, well-written stories, but their designs were never great.
Plus, they also give Robin in that a hood.
Yes, because he's got a buzz cut.
And I can see why, because that mask that only covers your eyes, it's not really an effective disguise.
Have you watched any of the Harley Quinn animated series?
Not yet, no.
It's so good. It's amazing.
She was going to be in the fifth Batman film, played by Madonna.
Yeah, which is just such a Joel Schumacher thing, isn't it? Like that is.
It would have had the Scarecrow and Harley Quinn in it.
That is so Joel Schumacher to cast Madonna.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
It was his idea for Arnold Schwarzenegger to play Mr. Freeze.
Oh god, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was barely in the suit most of the time.
And they paid him $25 million for it. I'd have made him pay it. I'd have made him wear that suit 24/7 for $25 million.
Have you heard his DVD commentary for Terminator 3? Because I've not seen Terminator 3, but his commentary on that is amazing. I've seen the highlights.
I've listened to bits of it.
Yeah,
but no, I've not heard it in full.
This is our DVD for Terminator 3. And he just starts going on about like breast sizes and stuff.
Oh god.
Some men like little breasts and some like big breasts, and maybe even simultaneously. It's just weird, man. He just starts going on.
Plus, I noticed as the film goes on, her suit gets more torn apart.
Yeah. Her suit kind of creeps me out, not gonna lie. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's the stitches around it and stuff. Like, it's such a distinct profile, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of creepy, I think. Ointment.
He's like Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons. Oh, cardboard heart. Oh, Quimby. How did they get the plans for the Batmobile?
I was just about to say, how the hell did they get the plans for the Batmobile?
Unless Bruce Wayne flushed them down the sewer. Which is stupid.
That's one of the things that makes no sense about this, is that whole hijacking the Batmobile bit is a lot of fun, but it just makes no sense.
Just getting there is a bit contrived.
And the whole scene as well, like him punching through the bottom of the Batmobile and stuff, it's just...
Yeah, I get he's strong, but
yeah,
punching through a car.
I love how this is shot with like her face and then his face. Now, I've heard reports about this, and I've spoken to people who say it's true and spoken to people who say it's not. Does she actually put the bird in her mouth for real?
I think so, yeah. That's what I've heard.
I've heard,
yes, she does put it in for real.
Because I always try and have a look at it, but it's hard to kind of... Because it cuts away is the problem. Like, it cuts to a different shot. Like, that could easily have been a fake bird. And then I always look at it when she opens her mouth and it flies out. I don't know. Like, here. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to tell. Because it would have been fair... Because I think they would have just put, like, a metal thing in her mouth, like a guard, to stop it from, like, obviously flying down her throat, but... This is eerie. I like that. It's very cool and creepy. So these three the three central characters manifest each of their different insecurities in different ways. Like Oswald goes for power, Catwoman goes for sort of sexual dominance, Batman goes for violence. They each sort of have their different... It's very... And they each sacrifice their chances to be happy as well. Like, no one wins in this. And I love talking to people and seeing their different interpretations of it.
Yeah, because I've heard some people say it's as bad as Batman and Robin.
Oh, it's not as bad as Batman. No, there's no... The thing is, this has got a lot on its mind, and it's got a lot to say about sort of trauma and individuals and different... I love this. Why are you doing... Like, this whole... Because she's just so lost, and... yeah.
Anyways, nice to see you. Sure. Nice to be here.
Because the villains in this have kind of become pretty iconic. Like, every time on, like, a chat show or a panel show, they pictures of Catwoman and the Penguin, they always use these versions. Like, these have kind of become the definitive versions of them in like, general pop culture. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
general audiences.
Definitely. That's what the Joker said in the first film. I was going to say,
yeah. It's going to be a hot time in the cold town tonight.
Right.
Parallels.
It's Gotham's equivalent of Children in Need.
Yeah.
Take 5. I say 6.
could be wrong, but I think Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer were dating in real life.
Oh, really? That's probably why their chemistry's so good in this.
Right, how does this actress not know who the Penguin is?
Yeah. It just makes
like
me laugh
not
as well.
Knowing who's the president of the United States at this point.
Yeah. And it just makes me laugh as well that he just lobs the thing at her.
It's like,
And he just at quite close range. I think that would just probably stab her if anything.
So yeah, what did he do? Knock her out, and then he tied her to a chair?
Yeah.
Because when Batman finds her, she's not got a scratch on her.
That's what I mean. It's weird. Like what? Because it's meant to frame Batman, isn't it? But it just these four films they always bring up Alfred's role in Bruce's life, and it kind of sometimes feels like they're going to challenge it. Like in Batman and Robin, they go, "Oh, he does all this for you, and are you thankful and stuff?" But they never do anything with it. And like obviously, she's just said, "Oh, the bachelor thing and the butler thing," and in the first one as well, they mention it. It's like they never do anything with that. It'd be quite a cool story to tell.
Plus, Vicky Vale is mentioned here because
yes,
he says, "I had one, but it didn't work." And she asks him, he kept things from him. He said, "No, I told her everything."
Yeah.
Because the original idea for the sequel would be that Vicky Vale was going to be in it, and Bruce Wayne was going to propose to her at the end.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, apparently. Because it was going to be a closer sequel to the first film.
Yeah.
But I think when they said you can have more control to Burton, he just disregarded the first film a bit and said, "I'll do my own thing."
It's very standalone. Like they barely mention Knox is completely gone.
Yeah.
I think we missed it, but I think there is a bit. I'm not sure if we missed it or not, but I think there is a bit where Cobblepot goes, what kind of a city is this where people are turned into psychotic clowns and stuff, which is kind of I interpret it as a reference to the Joker, but I know a lot of people say, it's meant to be part of like his circus gang, but I kind of think it's a reference to the Joker. And happy homemakers into Catwomen and stuff. He says that and stuff.
Well, in Batman Forever, Chase Meridian says to Batman, "Do I need skin-tight vinyl and a whip?"
Yes.
Obviously a reference to Catwoman.
I picked up on that recently, like when I last watched it, and I'd never picked up on that before. I think it's a really cool reference.
Plus, they both almost reveal each other's scars here.
Yes, yeah. Her scar looks really nasty. Like it looks properly.
Yeah, it does.
She needs to get that scene too.
Staying with blood, but she's not bleeding when we see her.
That's the thing. She should be sort of scratched, shouldn't she? I do kind of like that Gordon there is kind of a bit skeptical whether Batman has involvement. I kind of like that.
That's the most he does in this film.
Yeah.
He's completely useless in the fourth film.
He is, yeah.
The most he does is we discussed it last time, the raid on the Axis chemical factory after Jack Napier. So in Batman Forever, he's like, "Yay, go Batman,
go!
It's not like I'm the police."
Switch off the signal. He's not coming.
Yeah. Batman and Robin, he's like, "How did they get away?" Like, fuck off, you're the police commissioner. It's your job. He's like one of the Andys from Hot Fuzz. I was shocked when I looked at my watch and realised I should be in the pub. It's your job, isn't it, detect?
Oh, I would kill to see a GCPD film done in the style of Hot Fuzz, where all the GCPD crew are just absolutely incompetent.
Yeah, have it be James Gordon arriving in Gotham, Harvey Bullock being... Harvey should obviously be, like, Danny.
I do like how this little bit with Alfred when they're both like, oh, make something up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you talk about that actually. The in the Harley Quinn animated series, James Gordon's just this alcoholic depressive who just has no friends because it's all that series is a comedy. It's and they constantly take the piss out of him because he's got no friends and he keeps trying to invite Batman around for a barbecue, and Batman's just constantly like, no, Jim, get a life. It's really good.
There's a shot there we saw of the different Batsuits, and people have complained, oh, why does he have them all hung up like that?
Yeah.
Well, A, does it matter, and B, he fights crime, every night?
Yeah.
So chances are one of his suits could get damaged.
People just get hung up on the worst details, isn't it? Like, they just get hung up on the most minute things that don't matter.
It's because they watch CinemaSins and think that that's real film criticism.
God, yeah. I used to enjoy CinemaSins, but people started taking it as gospel. So, you know, oh, look, there's a continuity error, therefore the film's bad. It's like, it's when people, obviously,
most of the time they get them wrong anyway, because I remember when they did Spectre, there's a scene where Bond infiltrates Spectre's HQ to go into the meeting, and I think he shows the ring, the guard at the door lets him in, then CinemaSins says this ring used to belong to a Spectre agent and now could be used by anyone, and nobody thinks to check this. If he waited a grand total of 5 seconds, he'd see that Spectre wanted Bond to get in so they could trap him.
Yeah, exactly. It's just he just nitpicks things that just don't matter. Like, it's not.
Yeah, CinemaSins and Watch Mojo, they're probably they're my least favourite YouTube channel that have millions and millions of subscribers. I
do think CinemaSins are alright as comedy, but it's just a shame. And they used to be better when their videos were like 3 minutes long, because it worked better it worked better as like a funny. Oh, that's a weird little detail. Oh, that's a bit funny. But now they're like half an hour long, and it's just like, this isn't film criticism. This is nitpicking. It's like when people were complaining about the throne room bit in The Last Jedi, because at one point one of the weapons disappears and it's like a mistake, and it's like, that doesn't mean the whole film is awful. Like, it's one mistake. Like, eat 4, high in fiber. That's such a weird. This is the thing, like.
But he makes it sound so intimidating.
That's such a comic book superhero cheesy line, isn't it? I kind of like. I love that actually. It's a very. It's pure cheese.
Wait, it's weird how she was holding the chair and not the princess to start with.
Oh, she actually has got a scratch on her.
Oh, right.
Just on her forehead. Okay, fair enough then. What was that? Did the princess just stop on the way up just to dangle her legs down? And then just continue on?
Oh wait, he's not seen us. Just dangle your legs so you know, so he knows where we are.
That's what it looked like.
If she let you go, why are you still there? Get away from the edge.
Exactly.
You're not tied up or anything. Oh my god, he's behind coronavirus.
What if this is just a massive supervillain scheme? Coronavirus. I would, if this was just a massive supervillain scheme, it would be kind of a relief. A lot of the opticals in this are odd. Like, they look really soft. Like that bit there where Batman was just looking over the off the rooftop. The image is just very soft, isn't it? It's almost filtered. Oh, I love this line.
Mm-hmm. Can mistletoe be deadly if you eat it?
I think so, isn't it? I think it's quite a I'm not sure. I think there's some. I think there are some strains of it which are quite poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that this. In this is the second time it's happened. Catwoman will stab him, and they'll just immediately react by shoving her a fair distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like the image has become quite soft because of the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Batmobile getting hijacked, that's a plot in the animated series. I think the Penguin does it to his Batmobile.
Yes, I believe you're right. Yeah.
I don't think he rides an actual mechanical toy Batmobile that you get at your local Asda.
Buy our merch.
They actually showed it being consummated.
Yeah.
This would be an 18.
I did. The Penguin is just a really horny individual in this.
Yeah, he's a Me Too incident waiting to happen.
Right, well, this bit is weird coming up. When he gives her the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, this. So, right, she's not that high up. Let go. And I know it's got around. I know it's got around the neck, but that's not that easy. That's not that hard to get out of. Just sort of move your head a bit.
Mm-hmm.
She could have avoided being sent across the city flying like this if she'd just let go earlier.
Exactly.
Like that, just do that.
Mm-hmm.
I like this bit with the scream though. Oswald means order.
Mm-hmm.
Batter ride. So that's what I mean. He will have to. So somehow this little kiddie ride thing is linked to the Batmobile.
I go with it.
It's one of those, you just have to go with it, but it's so silly.
Exactly.
I don't mind it because I'm not one to complain about silliness in superhero films because it's like it's superhero, you know. But
this isn't the Christopher Nolan films, so
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Stop whinging, imaginary person.
It's what he quips quite a bit in this bit. Like, now I'm a little worried. You know, that whole bit. It's... DeVito looks like he's having so much fun.
I mean, if you've been living in the sewers all your life, technically you never had a license.
Yeah. So here's a CinemaSins nitpick coming up that I've just thought of. When he says he's played this stinking city like a harp from hell, it's a very different take to what we hear later when it's played back. Minus sin. Minus 1 point.
Honestly, whenever I see a CinemaSins video now, I just quote Homer Simpson and say, being a twat, minus 1,000,000 points. Nagging the filmmaker, minus 10 points for you. Yeah, I mean, that's my big problems with CinemaSins and Watch Mojo. They became so big with one type of video format that they played it out over and over again until it became dated and they started appealing to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, and Watch Mojo just recycle the same content.
Yeah, and also their
from hell.
top 10 lists are absolute bullshit.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, they put Joel Schumacher as one of the worst film directors ever. Oh, let me guess, is it because he directed Batman and Robin?
I really just... People look at him for one film and decide that he's a terrible human. When he died last week,
yeah, I saw some people go good riddance because he directed Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
like, shut up.
Shut up. Like, take a hard
he made a
look
bad
at
film,
yourself.
But he's still a person.
Yeah. Plus, are we forgetting he directed The Lost Boys? And, you know, people need to have long, hard looks at themselves when they. Yeah,
I remember when the 13th Doctor before the 13th Doctor was announced. Yeah, Eddie Redmayne was one of the names being put forward, and some idiot said, "Have they seen his performance in Jupiter Ascending? That would be disastrous." Yeah. Oh, forget the guy won a fucking Oscar.
I know, it's and it similarly, it's Robert Pattinson as well. Oh, he's got... No, I'm a little worried. The guy from Twilight... It's the guy from Twilight. He's going to do terrible. He's going to kill Batman. Well, why... You know... we discussed this last time. He has matured a lot as an actor since then.
Okay, I'm not a fan of the way the Batmobile splits off there, because that just looks like a big black penis.
It's weird, isn't it?
Luckily, it's only on screen for a bit.
Out of control.
Speaking of bladder control, apparently George Clooney pissed in his Batman suit.
That wouldn't surprise me, because they that's the thing with these old bat suits. They're so sort of thick and rubber, and
it'd probably take ages to get in and out.
That's the thing. You hear stories that it takes so long to get in them. And once you're in them,
you're in there for the long haul. Topher Grace, who played Venom in Spider-Man 3, he said, when I was in the Venom suit, I didn't drink all day because if I had to go to the toilet, it'd take ages for me to get out.
Well, that as well, because being in that Venom suit, there's a lot... That Venom suit's got quite a lot of rubber tendrils on his face, isn't it? So that has probably had to really be carefully taken off each day without them snapping or breaking or anything.
Oh yeah, Penguin says one of my favourite lines coming up here. Why is there always someone who brings eggs and tomatoes to a speech?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Oh, here's the Vicky Vale line. Coming up.
Yeah.
Security.
Well, Vicky Vale in a bear cave.
Oh, hi Vic, come on in. I love that.
I love how the entrance is in the fish tank.
Yes.
I think there's a moment in Batman Begins where he plays notes on a piano and it opens up.
Yes, there is, yeah. That's what I mean. I like, in Batman Begins, there's a bit more of a sort of comic bookiness to it than the sequels.
Yeah, because the plot feels very much like a comic book.
Yeah,
with the Scarecrow planning to poison Gotham's water supply. That's straight out of a comic book.
Yeah, and the whole look of the city as well is just a bit more stylized than it would be in the second and third one. So here we have MC Alfred.
The third film does feel a bit more like a comic book. The second film does actually kind of feel like the odd one out because it feels more like a crime drama.
I agree. Yeah. We're coming up to MC Alfred, DJ Alfred.
Oh yeah, that credit card is terrible, but a Bat CD player.
Yeah, a CD player with the Batman logo on it, presumably on top of a disc reader. That's so. Oh god.
If this was the Adam West show, I'd be like, Alfred, fire up the Bat CD player.
Yeah.
And also, if he was fighting the penguins in the Adam West show, it'd be like, hang me the penguin repellent spray.
Wouldn't people be able to
say that?
Wouldn't people be able to see that that's not him speaking?
Yeah, because his mouth's not moving. I get if you're at the back, you might think that because you can't see his mouth moving. But if you're right at the front, you like those guys are. You'd think his mouth's not moving. So what's he saying?
I played this stinking city like a harp from hell.
Ow.
Wow.
Why not?
Alfred looks so. Honestly, I think Michael Gough really enjoyed being in these.
I think he did.
He always looks like he's having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. He's like, sorry, man.
It's quite dangerous because you know what, the penguin, even when he's not in power, he sent people out to kidnap you and take you into the sewers. Disagreeing with him is probably not advisable.
Oh yeah.
Here's the line. To a speech.
Yeah, that is true. I don't get that.
Such a good line though.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get that on a t-shirt actually, the whole Oswald for Mayor posters. That'd be quite a cool thing to get on a t-shirt. So I was looking at that comic book series that DC announced and then cancelled, Batman '89, and it was gonna they released some artwork for it. It was just gonna be stories set in this universe after this film.
Oh, okay.
And they released one cover, and it had Billy D. Williams as Two-Face on it, and it had Batman, and it had Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman on it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been really cool, actually. I would have been interested in reading that, but they cancelled it before it was even a thing.
Mr. Cobblepot's penguins.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Popper's penguins.
Oh god, that film.
Coincidentally,
Ooh.
I've not seen it, but yeah, played by Jim Carrey, who would go on to play the Riddler.
I saw it years and years ago. I can't remember much of it. Crank the AC! Yo ho, sir!
Yeah, he more or less goes from being a man to being an animal and then a baby.
Yeah.
Because by the end, everyone's abandoned him.
Oh yeah, again, he's given up his chance
and the only
at
thing he
happiness.
has left by the end is the penguins that raised him.
Yeah, and it's those who take him to his death, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Also, if the penguins raised him, did they regurgitate their food for him?
Best not to
That's
think
what they
about
do.
it. It's probably why his blood is like all
Black,
green
yeah.
and black and. This is a great set though. The Penguin's Lair. It's a really cool.
Also, Penguin is pretty much Moses from the Bible if he went evil. Think about it. Sent down the river by his parents, raised by someone else, and then rather than be a saviour for the penguins, he decides to take revenge and drown all the firstborns like the Pharaoh does in the Bible.
It's a point, actually. So people will say, "Oh, Superman's like Christ. He sent down." Superman's more of a Moses figure than a Christ figure.
Yeah, I think so.
So
yeah.
sent that, you know.
Which is like, well, I know the Superman creators, they were Jewish.
Yes, they were.
Notice how everyone is wearing a mask except Bruce and Selina.
Yeah, I love that
because
detail.
They already wear them.
Yeah, exactly. I love that detail.
Symbolism.
That Mona Lisa in the back is weird. She's just turned around, but...
Well, I've seen at Comic-Con someone carry around that sign where, I don't know the meme, but it's basically just someone carrying out a meme in like a big picture frame.
Yeah. So this might be my favourite scene in the whole thing. When they start dancing, and this is Michelle Pfeiffer is at her best in this bit.
Yeah. Because some have argued it's a bit hypocritical of Bruce Wayne to say to Selina, "Don't kill Max Schreck," even though he's killed people in this film as Batman. But I think it's more to say, "Don't become what I've become."
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing about the Burton films, is he kind of treated killing people as just an afterthought. Like, he just almost didn't register it in his mind when he was dealing with the character of Batman.
Whereas with Nolan, it's very much his number one rule.
Yeah.
I'd argue the worst Batman moment in any film is in Suicide Squad when he goes to arrest Deadshot in front of his daughter.
Yeah,
Batman
I know,
wouldn't.
right?
Batman would never do that because, it's not like his parents were taken away by a criminal.
Yeah, exactly. The bit in Batman v Superman bothers me as well. I know it's a dream sequence, but where he's got the machine gun and he's just mowing down these guys, it's just like,
Even a post-apocalyptic world, Batman would not use a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, there's also a similar scene like this in The Dark Knight Rises because they dance in a ball, don't they?
Yes, that's what. And plus, this film, like Dark Knight Rises, takes place a lot of the time in the snow.
It does. Plus, it's the only Batman film, I think, so far, not counting the Adam West one, where Batman actually operates in the daytime.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, as much as I love that final battle, I think it would have been better if it took place at night.
Yeah. I do think it's quite a nice contrast, though. Oh, I love this bit. That is such a good little bit from her.
Yeah.
Because she genuinely doesn't know who she is when she's asked that question. It's so... And when they realise and stuff, it's like...
Do we have to hate each other now?
Yeah, that line as well.
Yeah, or is it, do we have to kill each other?
Yeah, do we have to... Wait, it's coming up in a second. Oh, she's so good. I cannot praise her enough in this. I never... She...
That's it, yeah. Do we have to start fighting?
Yeah.
It's a good thing they go outside.
Yes, because exactly where they were standing, the film will be over quite quickly. But yeah, that whole bit as well, like when he asked, "Who do you think you are?" and stuff. This whole thing is just about these lost characters who. It's got a lot to say about these colourful comic book characters. It's got an awful lot on its mind, this film. And they're all psychotic as well, that's the thing. Batman, Catwoman and the Penguin are all as psychotic as each other. So I crashed.
Right now, my troops are fanning out across town. My young children. Yes.
So he just goes full child catcher here.
Oh yeah, they both have a long nose.
Yeah, and a long nose, yeah. The child catcher. Man, that is nightmare fuel. The penguins have got all the rockets strapped to them.
Mhm. Did he have any penguin minions in the Adam West show?
No, he basically just used goons. Like most of the villains, he just used goons that were in their sort of aesthetic.
The word goons just reminds me of The Simpsons. Who is it? Goons? Who? Hired goons. Hired goons.
I always used to think he said little prick. It's only like.
Also, only Danny DeVito could make the line "in the duck" sound threatening.
Yeah, in the duck. I love Danny DeVito so much. Can we cast Danny DeVito in everything? Danny DeVito for the 14th Doctor, please.
Well, I know for the live-action Hercules remake, he's coming back as Philip Tetes, apparently.
Yes, he is.
Oh god.
I don't get.
I mean, it's just James Earl Jones all over again.
Yeah, but
why?
the sad thing is that Lion King remake, James Earl Jones sounded tired and old, and obviously that is understandable because he is getting quite old now. But he just didn't. You compare the line delivery from the old one to the new one, it's just like he just seems very tired and old now.
Mm-hmm.
They should have recast. But that's the thing, that these live action remakes won't do anything different because they want the nostalgia. They want 90s kids to get in the cinema and
Yeah, exactly. With Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin and Lion King, they have a strong fan base, they have a strong connection with the mainstream, so if you change anything about it, people will complain.
Yeah.
Whereas something like Pete's Dragon, nobody remembers the original anyway, so they can do what they want with it. Or films like Cinderella or Jungle Book, they were popular animated films, but the people who saw them in the cinemas originally are probably not here anymore,
yeah,
so
exactly.
we can do what we want with it.
I still maintain the Jungle Book remake was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked Jungle Book, I liked Cinderella, and if you count it, I did like 101 Dalmatians from the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the bit that the monkey kept grabbing Danny DeVito's balls.
Yeah, probably because he was scared of him.
Yeah. the bat notepad.
Yeah. When you step on a piece of Lego.
We get the announcer woman in a minute, don't we? The woman with the weird accent announcing all of the.
Yeah, doesn't she sound really bored or something?
She sounds bizarre. It's really like. The look of this film has remained strong as well. Like, obviously we're watching the old Blu-ray, but it still looks amazing. Like it looks really
like
good.
Reflections on the water.
Yeah, it looks like it's a really healthy transfer, and the 4K as well looks amazing. I think it's going to be like one of those films that will just continue to always look good. Whereas the first one kind of has always looked a bit soft. It's weird. I'm not sure what the technical aspects of whether they changed film stock or something for this one. It's just a very sort of clean, crisp image on pretty much everything I've ever seen it on. Even the old DVD, as grainy and pixelated as it could be sometimes, it was still.
The bat plane comes back here as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yep, there it is. Oh yeah, he's suddenly aware of this plan. And the plane can detect detect the penguins and also him driving the giant duck.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
I there's an interview with Joel Schumacher, I think it's on the commentary for Batman and Robin, that I refer to a lot with these things, where he just goes, hey, it's a comic book. And that's literally, whenever someone says stuff like this, I'm just like, hey, it's a comic book.
I remember listening to the Batman Forever commentary. He says, I get a lot of criticism for objectifying men and the male and female body in my films. And I just ask, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. He was a horny individual.
Apparently he claims to have slept with 20,000 men.
20,000! Yeah. I mean, you know what?
I applaud him for being just openly gay and being so open about his sexuality.
Yeah, kudos to, he was, and that's, obviously we will talk about it when we get to his films, but that is so evident in the Schumacher Batman films. They are possibly the gayest superhero films ever made.
Yeah,
I think so. But you know what? Like, fair enough. Yeah, they're cool. We've got here's the voice. 30 seconds. It's like German almost.
At the launch, 100,000 people.
It's weird. It's a weird voice.
Let's get silly. That's the joke.
That's the joke.
Where is everyone in Gotham?
I know where. Because I know obviously Batman has got protected all the children and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, even if there were crowds in Gotham, they'd probably just go up to the penguins and be like, "Oh, cool, let's feed the penguins.
Yeah,
let's give them bread."
There'd be at least a few
fish.
people on streets. I mean, look at coronavirus. People told to stay at home. There were still people on the streets running around like nutters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think anything can get the human race to stay indoors completely.
Nope.
Something is wrong. Understatement of the year. Dun 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 dun. I remember the old DVD I had, that the poster always like kind of scared me but fascinated me. Like, it's the famous poster of you've got Batman on the top, Catwoman in the middle, and Penguin at the bottom, or maybe and you've got the three heads. And I remember because Catwoman,
for the Blu-ray covers, it's like you've got the orange bat symbol for the first one, the silver and black one for this. The green one with the question mark for the third one, and then the weird Robin signal for Batman and Robin.
Yes. But yeah, I remember on that poster, Catwoman was like, her face was like pure white and stuff, and Penguin just looked really. I love that poster actually. It's quite cool.
Gotta go. Bye.
You think a lot of the Batman films have actually, well, I say a lot, 3 of them have got like ice motifs in them. You got this one, you got Batman and Robin, you got Dark Knight Rises, which I guess it's that duck going up the stairs.
And the Batplane can detect the duck.
Whack, whack, and it's got the noises.
The duck dog.
Now, a few years ago, I was watching this, and my granddad walked in, and he was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" And it was the shot that we just had of Penguin riding the duck along the snow, and he just looked at me, and he just went, "What the hell are you watching?" It's just a bizarre image. It's just this short, chubby little man going "Wah!" while riding a duck around.
Because I'm a
Again, it's just, like you said earlier, the triangle. They're all the same.
Penguin is the freakish side of Batman.
Yeah.
That shot of his eyes is great.
Yeah.
They're here. I love how Penguin's just going crazy and he's just stepping slightly to the left and right.
Yeah.
I feel one criticism that the Penguin, is killed by... It's weak for the Penguin to be killed by the toxic water. But no, that makes sense. And also they say, well, how come Max Shrek isn't affected? Well, because he's only in it for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah. Oh, there's the monkey. Christopher Walken looks genuinely frightened of that monkey.
Yep. Well, monkeys can be quite vicious.
Yeah, they can. Dead bodies at the bottom of water.
If that gun's been underwater, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. It'd be the inside of it would just be. You'd spend ages just pouring water out of it. That variation of the costume with the hair hanging out and stuff, the Catwoman costume when it was all ripped, looks very cool. A very big ball.
A big ball of string. I mean, at least she doesn't eat several cans of tuna like she does in the Catwoman film.
Oh, really? Is that a thing?
Oh god, yeah. God. She hisses at dogs. She lands on all fours. She eats several cans of tuna. Rubs her face in catnip. Oh, it's so horrible. Not even Adam West would go that far. Oh, the way he said you're going to jail.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
And again,
he's begging with her.
Yeah, and she doesn't have an answer to that question. Why are you doing this? She was asking herself that earlier when she was by herself.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She's just searching for a semblance of identity, and she thinks.
And he's not speaking in his Batman voice. He's speaking as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got the terrible continuity error here with his eyes.
With the eye makeup. And we cut away now, and then here, in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, it's
there
off.
It is. It's gone.
Like, you could have, I don't know, just have a quick shot of him wiping away the makeup with, like, a tissue or something, I don't know.
Or pan the camera around his head as he takes it off. To do a shot from behind, because then you wouldn't have to really explain the eye makeup. It would just be one of those things where it's.
How did he not recognise her?
Yeah.
I love that. You're fired.
Why are you dressed up like Batman? Was. Yeah, again,
he clearly went for his head there, so yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, again, the batsuit a bit useless with bullets.
Mm-hmm. One way to find out. I mean, it's a bit more clear on the Blu-ray, but you can actually see the bullet holes.
Yeah, you can.
In her costume.
Yeah, like near her shoulder there. It's.
Mm-hmm. And the worst thing about this is she's kissing a guy who just came out of the sewer.
Yeah. So, obviously, at the end of this film, we find out that she's still alive. How do you interpret this then? Because we never see her face at the end. So
maybe someone else took up the Catwoman mantle.
That's what I mean, yeah, because we never see her face.
Yeah.
So do you think?
I don't even think it was Michelle Pfeiffer in the costume.
No, it wasn't. There's a story. Shooting was completely done. It was all finished. And then Warner Bros. Were like, "Yay, we might want to do something with Catwoman, like a spin-off. So can you add in a tease?" So they just got like a skeleton crew, and just got the cat suit back, and just put some random person in it, and just filmed it from behind on a blue screen.
Yeah. Poor Penguin. You can't feel sorry for him.
His death's properly horrific though. Like when he's in the water and it just floats down and stuff.
And he's vomiting the toxic waste.
The
God, that skeleton.
The eyeballs on the skeleton.
And the hair's still there.
Yeah.
I picked a cute one.
The music's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Shrek.
That was me during the heat wave.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Last week we were doing this commentary and I was sat there going but like this week it's not it's weird, man.
Yeah, tomorrow's July and it feels like March.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that's left for him is the penguins that raised him.
Yeah.
So he's gone back. So he starts off as a baby that nobody wants. Now he ends his life as a baby that nobody wants. It's really bitter.
Yeah, consequences led him to abandon his happy ending. Lose his happy ending. And again, I can 100% see the complaints, because this shot in a minute where he's floating down and the blood's all coming out of his mouth and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty horrific. Like, I don't recall being bothered by this as a kid. I don't think I was ever really scared by it or anything. It's just...
Yeah, I wouldn't really show this to, like, say, an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I think I watched it even younger. Yeah, that shot is... I watched it when I was very young. I think I was about 4 or 5, because it was not long after I'd watched the first one. And then I watched the third and fourth one. And as a kid, I preferred the Schumacher films just because they were more colourful and fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And for a kid, they're easier to watch as well, because they're just, they are live action cartoons, really.
Mm-hmm.
So. It's kind of a bittersweet end to his time as Batman as well, isn't it? Like, he doesn't go out on a rooftop looking up at the bat signal. He goes out searching for Catwoman, and that's it, really.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in a last-ditch effort to try and connect the Burton and Schumacher films, maybe that's why he's a bit more softer when we see him in Batman Forever.
Yes.
Because he thinks Selina is dead and she went too far with killing.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
vows not to kill anyone ever again.
The Burton and Schumacher films are definitely connected. I know some people like to pretend they're two separate universes, but they're definitely meant to be the same universe. It's just there's a lot of
Tone differences.
yeah, there's an aesthetic differences as well. There's a lot of differences in them, but they clearly are meant to be the same. Especially going from this to the third one with Tim Burton still on that one as a producer as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he had any say over the final film.
No, yeah.
Merry Christmas.
That's his last line as Batman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, goodwill toward men and women.
So yeah, this was all apparently a skeleton crew that was just brought back on because Warner Brothers. Because what is she standing on here when we see her? What is she meant to be?
There's no building there.
There's no building. She's just sort of floating.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool final shot. I do like the final shot because it does imply that with her costume back together and everything.
Yeah, skeleton crew just going back and shooting extra footage. It just reminds me of the film Caligula, because I don't know if you've seen it, but
no, I haven't.
I'd say you're far too young for it. Basically, they filmed everything, and then the producer went back and filmed a lot of hardcore pornographic scenes that had nothing to do with the film.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Is that the one with Helen Mirren?
The film was pretty explicit already, but
yeah,
he added weird scenes of like two lesbians making out while Caligula had a threesome.
Fair enough. I mean, what is that? Has that got like an R18 rating from the BBFC, or is it an 18?
It's definitely an 18.
Yeah, it's an 18, right? So they didn't go up to the one above 18 then, because there is one above, isn't there?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So I've just seen as well, project consultant Bob Kane. He was credited as a consultant on this one.
Yeah.
Mark Crash McCready.
Oh, Mark Crash McCready? Yeah. Crash.
Ah!
I remember seeing it's on the Batman Blu-ray where they talk about his history in the comics. Stan Lee reminisces about Bob Kane saying, I can remember being at the premiere, he was saying, well, I did it. I got a Batman film. What about Spider-Man, eh? Well, he had to wait 13 years to get a Spider-Man film.
Yeah. Well, they were going to do the one with James Cameron, weren't they? But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, the James Cameron one with the weird...
The 15 rating and
yes,
the hot, steamy scene between Peter Parker and Mary Jane, apparently.
On top of a bridge, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Main title sequence designed by Robert Dawson. Was there...
What title sequence?
Yeah, it was just... I was going to mention this earlier, actually, but you know how the logo appears with, like, the strip coming out?
Mm-hmm.
Is that an early bit of CGI there?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause obviously this was a year after T2, wasn't it? So
it was, yeah. And I know in the next film they used some more CGI models.
Yes, I believe it was the first, or one of the first sort of fully CGI shots or something. When he jumps down from the building, it's entirely CGI. Yeah,
because this was a year before. It was a year after T2, but a year before Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's definitely it still mostly uses practical stuff, though, isn't it, and opticals rather than CGI. I think earlier some of the bats might have been.
Well, apparently this is one of the final films to be made in the old style Hollywood way, you know?
Yeah.
On sound stages, optical effects.
Yeah, it says digital bats there, so that's probably...
Yeah, I'd say films like T2 and Jurassic Park probably changed the way
Yeah.
definitely changed the way we do visual effects now.
Because when we get to the third one next week, it looks, ignoring the changes in tone and visual style, it looks like a more modern film than these two.
Yeah. I've not heard this song before.
No, I think it's the one that was playing in the party scene, but like an instrumental version was in the party scene.
Sounds a bit like a Bond theme.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Organ grinder. Fat Klein and Thin Klein.
Paul Rubens, Penguin's father.
Volunteer Bimbo.
Wait, Emperor Penguins? They have them in penguin suits? I thought they used real ones or just animatronic ones.
I think there were a lot of real ones, but I guess when they were too dangerous to use them. Yeah, face to face. I think this is, or maybe no. Yeah, I think this is face to face.
Interesting fact about Paul Rubens: he was caught masturbating in an adult movie theatre in 1991.
Yes, he was, and it's very weird to watch Pee Wee Herman now.
My bike. Where's my bike?
Scenes depicting violence were simulated. Yeah, no shit.
And that is the end of Batman Returns.
A unique film. A very unique film, but it's probably my favourite out of the four. I'd
probably have to go. I still think the first one is the best, but I still really enjoy this one.
Yeah, I think it's just because of the amount that this one's got on its mind about the characters and everything. It's an interesting film for sure. So that is the end of the commentary, everyone. We'll be back next week for Batman Forever. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks once again, Isaac, for joining me on this. As always, you can find Isaac's channel. I'll link it into the description, so you can go and subscribe. As I said, we'll be back next week. In the meantime, have fun. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.